Monica ordered the lobster. I went with steak. Lexi, already 2 cocktails deep, kept picking at the breadbasket like it owed her money. The ocean view from the resort's patio was picture perfect. Linen napkins, candlelight, polished silver. If you looked from the outside, you'd think we were in love. 10 years married. That dinner was supposed to be a reset. Or maybe it was a final performance. I hadn't decided yet. Monica was all smiles and red lipstick, the kind she only wore when she wanted something. I thought maybe it meant she was trying. Then she opened her mouth. "Oh, before I forget," she said, waving her wine glass like it was a magic wand. "I sold your dad's old boat last week. My friend needed capital for her juice truck. Isn't that funny?" Lexi snorted, almost choking on her drink. "That crusty thing. Who the hell bought it?" My fork froze mid-air. My father's boat. The one I kept stored in Gloucester, the one he left me in his will, the one I told her, more than once, was off limits. That boat wasn't worth much, but it meant everything. "Wasn't even your name on the title," Monica added, laughing, like that made it fine. I didn't yell. I didn't throw my drink or flip the table. Instead, I pulled out a white envelope from my jacket and slid it across the table. She blinked. "What's this?" "Documents," I said. "I cashed out our IRA 3 days ago, transferred everything into a private account under my name." Lexi's laugh died in her throat. Monica's face drained color like a sink emptying. "You're joking," she said, reaching for the envelope. "Nope. You made your move. Now I've made mine." She opened it right there, hands shaking just slightly. Lexi leaned in like she was watching a car crash. Monica's lips moved as she read, but nothing came out. Her eyes darted back up at me. "You emptied it," she said. "Everything." I stood up, tucked my chair in, and looked at her dead in the face. "Every cent. Quick note. Before we go further, tell us where you're watching from." Then I turned and walked out, leaving both the check and the envelope behind. Let her figure out how to pay for the lobster. I didn't stop to think. I just walked straight to the car, tossed the jacket in the back seat, and drove north without a plan. Highway lights blurred into long yellow streaks, and the farther I got from Cape Cod, the more real it all felt. I hit Boston just before sunrise. Streets were quiet, except for the occasional drunk kid yelling from a sidewalk, or a delivery truck backing into an alley. I pulled up outside Victor's place in the South End, parked illegally, and rang his buzzer like it owed me money. He opened the door shirtless, rubbing sleep out of his eyes, staring like I'd just crawled out of a car wreck. "Jesus, what happened?" "I need whiskey." He didn't ask again. He stepped aside, let me in, and pointed toward the kitchen. His apartment looked the same as always, clean, minimalist, overpriced. I went straight for the liquor cabinet while he grabbed 2 glasses and dropped onto the couch. "Talk," he said, pouring. I gave him the short version: Monica, the boat, the envelope. By the time I got to the part where Lexi laughed like it was some punchline, Victor leaned back and let out a low whistle. "She sold your dad's boat for a juice truck." She didn't even ask. She ever even liked that boat? "She hated it," I said, and knocked back half the glass. We sat in silence for a second. Then Victor leaned forward. "All right, let's get smart. What else do you two still own together?" I took a breath. "The Gloucester condo, the Challenger, joint savings, some weird-ass wine club she signed us up for. Think we paid $5,000 for it last year." "You serious?" "She said it was a lifestyle investment." Victor grabbed his laptop off the counter and started typing. "We need to lock down whatever we can. If she's playing dirty, she's not done. You still have access to the bank account." "Yeah, for now. Then move fast, transfer your half, set up a new account, separate bank, separate login, new everything." "What about the car?" I asked. He kept typing. "Whose name is it under?" "Both." "Then it's leverage. What's the condo worth?" "About 370, equity, maybe 200. Victor stopped typing and looked at me. "Dave, she's been planning this. You don't pull a stunt like that at dinner unless you think you've already won." I looked down at the glass in my hand. My chest was still tight, but it wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was pressure, anger, sharpened to a point. "You think she's trying to bleed me out?" He nodded. "She knows what you value." The boat was personal. Now she'll come for the practical. I stood up and started pacing. "We bought that condo as a rental. She said it was for retirement. She was the one who wanted it. She played the long game. You gonna play the short one?" I stopped walking. "What do I do?" He closed the laptop and looked at me like it was obvious. You stop thinking like her husband, start thinking like a target. That sentence hit harder than the whiskey. I walked to the window, stared out at the empty street, and ran my fingers through my hair. She was already gone, wasn't she? I said quietly. Victor didn't answer. He didn't have to. The sun started coming up, casting a faint orange light through the glass. I turned back to him. Help me lock it down. Everything. I don't care if it's a case of wine or a toothbrush. We divide it now. He opened the laptop again. Let's get to work. We stayed up for hours after that, checking accounts, logging assets, making lists. The kind of cold, methodical planning you only do when love's officially dead and all that's left is inventory. She thought she'd caught me sleeping. She had no idea I was already awake. Victor didn't waste time. Once we had the list of shared assets, he started texting his corporate contacts like it was a damn emergency board meeting. He knew guys in finance, real estate, tech law. Sharp people with no patience for drama. I was done playing defense. He turned his laptop toward me. Start pulling all your records. Every bank statement, loan, bill, insurance doc, everything with both your names. I nodded and got to work. My inbox was a mess, but I started digging. Credit union PDFs, old mortgage docs, scanned copies of insurance claims. I even found the original title paperwork for my dad's boat. His name and mine, nobody else. You got that scanned? Victor asked, peering over my shoulder. Yeah, here. He sent it to a contact right away. She sold the boat. If your name's on it, we've got leverage. More than that, I said. She never had the right. It was quiet for a while, just keys clicking and the hum of Victor's AC unit. Then his phone buzzed. He read the message, blinked, then turned the screen toward me. You're gonna want to see this. Attached was a scan of the bill of sale Monica used to transfer the boat. My name was on it, my signature, except I never signed it. I stared at it so long, my eyes blurred. That's not mine. Victor had already picked up the phone. I'm calling in a handwriting guy. Hang tight. It took less than an hour. The analyst response came fast. Obvious forgery. My signature didn't match. Wrong pressure, wrong angle, wrong flow. She hadn't even tried that hard. Victor leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. She forged your name to sell a boat that wasn't legally hers. And she told me to my face it was no big deal, I said. He scrolled a little further, eyes narrowing. You're not going to like this. The sale money had been wired to an account in Florida. Name on the recipient, Derek Stanton. I frowned. Who the hell is Derek Stanton? Victor tapped the keyboard, pulled up a social media profile. Tanned, muscled, covered in gym brand merch, posing with Monica on a boat dock that looked suspiciously familiar. Her boyfriend, Victor said flatly. Jesus. Gym owner, based in Tampa. Looks like they've been posting together for a couple months now. My stomach turned, but not from heartbreak, from the insult. She sold my dad's boat to fund this idiot's protein powder empire. Victor didn't laugh. Dave, this isn't just betrayal, it's fraud. That boat was yours, right? Yeah, left to me in the will. I paid for the storage. I handled all the maintenance. Not community property, not marital assets. Nope. He nodded, satisfied. That means we've got her. I ran both hands down my face, trying to slow the spin in my head. I wasn't even surprised about the boyfriend. Deep down, I knew something had been off for months. The late nights, the sudden business trips. But the forgery, selling something that belonged to my father. That was a different kind of low. Victor's voice cut through the noise. We file. Immediately, civil and criminal, theft, fraud, forgery. I've got the paperwork ready. Think she knows I found out. Doesn't matter. I look back at the printout of that fake signature, clean, confident, like she'd practiced it. I wasn't dealing with a bitter wife anymore. I was dealing with a thief. Let's bury her, I said. Victor smiled for the first time that day. Now we're talking. Victor didn't wait. As soon as I said the word, he called a guy named Marcus, a financial crimes investigator he'd worked with before on some corporate embezzlement case. Real quiet type, ex-military maybe, voice like gravel. He was in Boston by that afternoon. We cleared off Victor's dining table. Marcus showed up with a laptop, a fingerprint scanner, and enough encrypted drives to make you nervous. All right, he said, shaking my hand. You're the one whose name's getting dragged through the mud. Apparently. He opened a spreadsheet. Let's start with your savings account activity. You mind logging in? I typed in the info. Marcus took over from there, eyes scanning fast. Here. He tapped the screen. You see this? Consulting fee, $8,500. What next one? Equipment lease, $14,200. Another one labeled Wellness Business Coaching, $12,600. All within 90 days. You approve any of that? I leaned in. No, absolutely not. Victor frowned. Those were from the joint account. Marcus nodded. All pulled under your wife's login. But here's the kicker. It all landed in one business account. He pulled it up. The name on the screen read Core Horizon Wellness, LLC. Owner, David M. Halston. My name. What the hell is this? I said. Marcus clicked into the registry file. This LLC was set up in Florida 3 months ago. You're listed as the founder, CEO, and primary guarantor. Monica is listed as Director of Operations. Derek Stanton as CFO. Victor let out a low whistle. She used your name to start a company. This isn't without telling me, I said. Marcus nodded, calm as ever, and used your social security number to open the merchant accounts tied to it. That's where the gym deposits are going. Derek's pulling money directly through this business. They made you the fall guy. I sat back in the chair, stomach tight. So, if this thing goes down, I'm the one holding the bag. Marcus nodded. That's how it's built. On paper, you're running the show. They're just the staff. I looked at Victor. She didn't just betray me. She built a trap. No, Marcus corrected. She built a firewall. If Derek's gym fails, and from the look of the numbers, it's bleeding out, you're the one on the hook for the transfers, the loans, the tax liability. Victor leaned forward. What kind of numbers are we talking? Over 35 grand from your savings, plus a pending SBA grant under your name. That hasn't hit yet, but it's in process. I felt the room tilt. She applied for a government loan. Yep, using your SSN, your tax ID, and an EIN tied to this fake company. My hands were fists on the table. What do I do? Marcus reached into his bag, pulled out a folder. You file a fraud report, today. IRS, Treasury, your state AG. Then you hire a financial defense attorney before this gets worse. Victor was already texting again. I know a guy. Downtown firm. Ruthless. I looked back at the screen, my name, attached to something I'd never even heard of until 10 minutes ago. Marcus closed the laptop. You're lucky you caught this now. Most people don't see it until the IRS shows up. I nodded slowly. You think she planned all this? She didn't do it by accident. That's when it finally clicked. Monica wasn't reckless. She was calculated. The dinner, the boat, the IRA, that was just noise. This was the play. She used my identity like it was a blank check. I stood up and walked to the kitchen sink, turned on the faucet just to feel something steady. I married a goddamn criminal, I said. Victor walked up behind me, set his hand on my shoulder. No, man, you married a con artist. I shut the water off and dried my hands. She's not my wife anymore. She's a threat. I was halfway through a coffee that had gone cold when someone knocked at the door. Not a light tap, 3 sharp hits like they knew I was inside. I set the mug down and checked the peephole. A woman stood there, maybe late 30s, straight dark hair pulled back, denim jacket, no makeup. She looked tired, but not weak. The kind of tired that says she's seen enough. I opened the door halfway. Can I help you? You're Dave Halston. Who's asking? She reached into her jacket slowly and pulled out a driver's license. Renee Stanton, Derek's ex-wife. That name froze me. I stepped back and opened the door all the way. She walked in like she already knew the layout. I know this is out of the blue, she said, scanning the room, but you don't have much time. I shut the door behind her. You came all the way up here from Florida. I was already in New York. It's not far when you've got a reason. She didn't sit. She pulled a flash drive from her pocket and held it up. Everything's on here. Screenshots, transfers, even group chats. Monica and Derek plotting this little wellness scam. You're not the first. I took the drive, didn't plug it in yet. What do you mean, not the first? They did the same thing to me 2 years ago. Different company name, same game. You were married to him, unfortunately. Her eyes were flat. He cleaned out my savings, opened credit cards under my name, made me the face of some fake coaching platform. When it tanked, I took the credit hit. He vanished with the money. Why didn't you go after him? I did, filed police reports, tried to sue, but he buried me in paperwork and ghosted state lines before I could land anything. I leaned against the counter. So, now it's my turn. No, she said. Now it's your warning. She finally sat across from me at the kitchen table. They're moving fast. 35 grand is just the surface. Derek's gym is drowning. This core horizon thing is his way to stay afloat. Monica handles the setup. Derek handles the money. And the legal liability goes to whoever's dumb enough to love them. I stared at her. So I'm just another sucker. You're the last one I'm warning. She reached into her purse and laid out printed screenshots, text threads between Monica and Derek. One read, "This guy's solid. Works in finance, won't see it coming." Another, "Once the LLC is live, we move the gym lease under him. He'll absorb it if the SBA hits back." My name was in every doc, every line of registration, every fake plan they had. Renee slid one last file across the table, a PDF of the LLC registration, all signed, dated, and traceable to Monica's email. "Where'd you get all this?" I asked. "I know where Derek keeps his backups. He never changes his passwords, still uses our wedding date for most of them." Her voice cracked just once, just enough to prove she wasn't here for revenge. She was here for closure. I looked at the flash drive again. Why help me? Because no one helped me, and because if this thing blows, you're the one who gets indicted, not them. We sat there for a while, quiet. Just two people who'd had their lives hollowed out by the same two snakes. There wasn't much left to say. Before she stood to leave, she placed her hand flat on the table. No ring, no jewelry. Just calloused fingers and a faded scar near her thumb. "Move fast," she said. "They're already a step ahead." I followed her to the door. "Thanks," I said. She looked back one last time. "Don't thank me. Just don't be stupid." Then she was gone. I locked the door and slipped the flash drive into my laptop. It was worse than I expected. I didn't sleep that night. I went through every file on the flash drive until my eyes burned. When the sun came up, I already had a plan. First move, freeze everything. I called the bank at 8:01 a.m., spoke to fraud protection, and shut down every joint account Monica and I shared. I flagged all debit and credit cards, even the ones we never used. Then I set up new accounts at a different bank under a temporary alias and encrypted login credentials Marcus gave me. Victor was 2 steps ahead, already drafting the paperwork for the trust. "We'll keep it quiet," he said, "and keep your name off anything public." We met his lawyer that afternoon, an icy woman named Claire, who didn't blink once during the whole meeting. She filed the trust within the hour and rerouted every dollar I had into it. While they handled that, I focused on the Gloucester condo. I found the power of attorney Monica had signed 3 years ago when we refinanced. She forgot all about it, probably because she never read the fine print. I used it. My real estate agent listed the condo that same week, priced it low for a fast sale. It was under contract within 48 hours. All I had to do was sign, and it was gone. That's when the text started. "Monica, did you freeze the accounts? I can't access anything." "Monica, this is ridiculous. We need to talk." "Monica, you're being immature." "Monica, you're ruining everything." I didn't respond. I didn't even read them past the preview bubble. I just blocked her number. Then she started emailing. Subject, "We can still fix this." Subject, "You're acting crazy." Subject, "I'll call the cops." I changed my email address and shut down every social media profile I had, even the ones I hadn't touched in years. I ordered a new phone, new number, new SIM, shipped it to Victor's office, not my place. She couldn't find me, not anymore. Victor texted me late one night after the condo funds hit the trust. "You're clean. She's locked out." I stared at those words longer than I should have. Then I powered off the burner phone and stuffed it in a drawer. Monica thought she'd gutted me financially. What she didn't see coming was silence. No threats, no yelling, just disappearing. No one panics louder than a manipulator who loses control. She didn't want a husband. She wanted a co-signer, and now she had nothing. The warehouse sat on the edge of some beat-up industrial park outside Tampa, tucked behind a row of weed-choked lots and shuttered tile shops. No signs, no logo. Just a gray metal building with 2 rusted bay doors and a security keypad that looked like it hadn't worked in years. Victor's contact had tracked the lease back to Core Horizon Wellness, listed under my name. I flew down with Marcus the next morning. "Stay quiet," Marcus said as we stepped out of the rental car. "We're just taking photos. We don't touch anything." The lock was busted, door cracked open half an inch. We pushed inside. It smelled like cardboard and sweat. Inside, fake inventory everywhere, label supplements with blank ingredient lists, pallets of cheap plastic tubs. Half of them were empty. The other half were filled with sand, I swear to God. There was a folding table with an open laptop, sticky notes all over the walls, and a laser printer still blinking. Marcus pulled out his phone. "Get everything. Photos, video, keep your gloves on." I moved through the place in silence, taking shots of invoices stacked in a crate near the back wall. Every single one had my name printed at the bottom. D. Halston, Managing Director. And there it was, 3 copies of the Florida Small Business Grant application, fully signed and submitted. Same forged signature Monica used to sell the boat. Marcus found a box of printouts with notes scribbled across the margins in pink ink. "Check this out," he said, holding one toward me. Top corner read, "Marketing Phase 2. Push grant to BizCard. Grant expires December 1st. D needs to sign early. Initialed MS, Monica's handwriting, her planning." He flipped over a shipping invoice. Her full signature again, Monica Stanton, next to the field marked Authorized Officer. He looked at me. "You ready to bury her?" "More than ready." We drove straight to the Florida State Treasury's Fraud Division and handed everything over. Digital photos, printed invoices, screenshots, ID proof, even the LLC docs. Then we hit the IRS office and filed an identity theft affidavit with a full fraud report attached. By the time we walked out, Monica was being looked at by 2 federal agencies. She didn't even know it yet. That same night, back at the hotel, I checked the burner phone I'd left powered off in my duffel bag. 36 messages, 4 voicemails, 3 emails marked urgent. "Monica, I don't know what game you're playing, but this has to stop. Monica, you froze our accounts, sold the condo, and disappeared. This is insane. Monica, let's just talk, please. Monica, Dave, I'm serious. You're overreacting. Monica, I can fix this." I didn't reply. I just forwarded every single message to my attorney and powered the phone off again. Marcus leaned on the edge of the desk. "You think she knows yet?" "Nope, not a clue." But the cracks were showing. 3 days later, Victor sent me a link. It was a live stream. Derek, shirtless, hyped up, mid-set, talking to his handful of online gym followers about expansion and brand synergy. Somewhere in the background, I saw Core Horizon banners duct taped to the wall. I almost laughed. Then it happened. Mid-sentence, 2 men in plainclothes walked into frame and flashed badges. The camera wobbled. Derek dropped his phone. People in the comments started spamming question marks. Marcus texted me 5 seconds later. Florida Fraud Task Force picked him up. IRS is in on it too. Grant violations. I sat back, pulled in a long breath, and closed the laptop. Derek was in cuffs. Monica was still pretending it was all normal. She had no idea her whole world was already collapsing. The subpoena landed 2 weeks after Derek's arrest. Monica filed suit in family court, claiming financial cruelty, abandonment, and fraudulent concealment of marital assets. Victor read it out loud and snorted. "She really thinks you're the one who committed fraud." Claire, my attorney, didn't laugh. "That's not the point. It's her last move. Play the victim before we flip the table." We didn't countersue. We didn't need to. We just showed up. The hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. in Suffolk County Family Court. Monica walked in wearing a soft blue blazer like she was on her way to church. Her lawyer, a smug guy in a $1,000 suit with a $40 haircut, started right away. "Your Honor, my client was blindsided. Her husband emptied accounts, liquidated joint property, and fled. She had no choice but to pursue legal relief. She's suffered emotionally, financially." Claire cut him off without raising her voice. "Objection, Your Honor. We have documented evidence of extensive financial misconduct by the petitioner, including identity theft, wire fraud, and misuse of federal funds." The judge leaned forward. "You'll need to prove that." Claire smiled. We intend to. We started with screenshots. Text threads between Monica and Derek, planning the fake business under my name. Then we moved to bank records, over $35,000 transferred out of joint savings without my consent. Claire walked the judge through each entry, labeled consulting fees, equipment lease, business coaching, but all routed to Core Horizon Wellness, registered under Mr. Halston's name, without his knowledge. Monica stared straight ahead, like she didn't hear a word. Then came the forged documents, boat sale, business applications, the federal grant request. All signed with my name, all authenticated by a handwriting analyst Claire brought in as a witness. Your Honor, Claire said, we also have sworn testimony from another victim. Renee stepped up to the stand in a black dress and flat shoes, calm, focused. She gave the court a full breakdown of how Derek and Monica ran the exact same scam on her 2 years earlier. Different business name, same method. She even brought hard copies of old texts and loan documents. The judge didn't interrupt once. When it was time to cross, Monica's lawyer barely opened his mouth. Claire ended our case with one sentence. This is not a divorce proceeding. It's a cover-up attempt. The courtroom went quiet. The judge turned to Monica. Anything you'd like to say before I rule? She stood slowly, hands clasped in front of her. I was just trying to build something, she said. Dave always made the money. I just wanted to have something of my own. No further explanation, the judge asked. She swallowed hard. No, he nodded once. This court finds in favor of the respondent. The petitioner's claims are dismissed with prejudice. She blinked fast like she was trying not to cry. But then he added the part I'd been waiting for. Due to the evidence presented, including identity misuse and possible federal grant fraud, I am referring the petitioner to the state attorney's office for criminal investigation. That was the moment her face cracked. 2 plainclothes agents from the Treasury Department were already seated in the back row. They stood up, quiet, professional, no cuffs, no shouting. They walked her out like she was late for a meeting. Monica didn't even look at me. I stayed seated. Claire leaned in. You good? I nodded. Better than good. She packed up the files, and we walked out together into the bright afternoon sun. It wasn't revenge, not really. It was just the truth, finally dragged into the light. The envelope was plain, government sealed, no return address. I already knew what it was before I opened it. Amount due, $13,500. Recovery of ineligible grant disbursement. There it was, neatly typed in black ink. Their words were polite, but the message was blunt. Monica lied, but you're still on the hook, at least for now. Claire confirmed it. You're not liable long term. The fraud case is active. They'll recover it eventually. Eventually, I said, but I still have to eat it first. She didn't argue. I wired the money the next morning, straight from the private trust Victor helped set up. No calls, no drama. Just a number on a screen disappearing into a system I never asked to be part of. 5 minutes later, another email came in, from her. Subject line. You always thought you were smarter. I was just faster. I didn't open it, didn't need to. I highlighted it and hit delete without reading past the first line. That was the last time she tried to speak to me. Later that week, I drove up north, past Montpellier, past the strip malls and ski lodges. I took a 2-lane road through the trees until I reached a dirt driveway with a faded sign that just said, Lot 17. I'd seen the listing months ago, 5 acres outside Burlington, nothing built, just hills and pines and silence. Monica called it a pointless money sink when I first mentioned it. Said she'd never lived that far from a target. She wasn't part of this anymore. I stepped out of the truck and walked the property line, took in the slope of the land, the sound of wind moving through the trees. No neighbors, no traffic, just peace. It was the first place I'd stood in a long time that didn't carry her shadow. I met the agent the next morning. You looking to build or just hold it? She asked. Build, I said, eventually. She smiled. I'll draw up the offer. No partners, I added. No co-signers, just me. She nodded. Got it. When I signed the paperwork, I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel closure. I just felt still. That grant debt was the last price I had to pay for loving someone who never really existed. Everything else, money, property, years, I could live without. But that check, that was blood money. And now it was done. I kept a copy of the receipt in a drawer, not out of sentiment, just proof. For me. The walls were still bare, insulation showing in some spots, but the place was mine. I built it slow, weekends, early mornings, whenever the weather held. It wasn't much, just a modest wood cabin on that hill lot north of Burlington. No one around for miles except trees and wind. Jasper showed up 3 weeks after I moved in. Shelter said he was part lab, part mutt, all stubborn. First night he howled like a banshee. Second night, he crawled up next to the bed and didn't move until sunrise. We figured each other out pretty quick. Most mornings started the same. Black coffee, boots up on the porch rail, Jasper chasing chipmunks. The world was quiet for once. No lawyers, no emails. Just air that smelled like pine and smoke. Harper lived 15 minutes down the road now. She'd stop by some evenings, brought fresh bread or apples from the co-op. We'd sit on the porch with coffee, watching the sun fall behind the ridge. We didn't talk about Monica, not once. Didn't need to. One afternoon, a letter came. No return address, just my name, written in that too clean handwriting. I didn't open it at first, just stared at it sitting on the table. Jasper nudged it with his nose. I sighed and tore it open. You always thought you were smarter. I was just faster. Same line as the email, like she thought it was clever, like it meant something. I didn't waste a breath. Walked it straight to the wood stove and fed it to the fire. Watched it curl and blacken. Jasper sat by my feet, tail thumping once. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel anything. Later that night, I pulled out a notebook, one of those thick spiral-bound ones from the hardware store. I started sketching. Not floor plans, just ideas. A retreat center. Nothing big. Maybe a few cabins, fire pit, trails. A place for people who need quiet, who've been through their own kind of storm. The idea felt stupid and real at the same time, like something that might actually happen. At the top of the page, I wrote one sentence. She took the past. The future is mine. That was it. The sun started dipping low, painting the trees orange and gold. Jasper climbed into my lap, heavy and warm. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I owed anybody a damn thing.